Welcome to Vibe Check, everyone listening in. Today I'm with Lila Grace, right?
Right.
Gray. Yeah,
Yes.
I knew that. Um, but yeah, we have brought her onto the show. She is from Nelson, BC. Yes,
Oh,
recording artist from Nelson, BC, and we brought her on the show today to talk all things music and about her music. And so I hope everyone listening in will get to know a little thing or two about Lila Gray. So, first question, we've just been asking this to everyone because this is the most basic question.
totally.
How's recording been with COVID? How has your music been impacted by COVID
It's
19?
been pretty fun. It's been kind of cool because where I live is so remote. Like it's kind of what I do normally, but it's been really cool to connect with. I've been writing with artists from all over the world. Someone in London, one of my friends in Revelstoke, like FaceTime writing sessions, which have been really cool. And even like doing some vocal recording from home and sending it off to the studio, and then having them mix it and send it back to me has been really interesting, and I've really enjoyed the extra time to like write with quarantine and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably been our first
Positive.
happy. Yeah, most of the time, a lot of artists, including myself, I miss the studio a lot. I miss being around
Yeah,
people and being in
totally.
just that environment, right? I was able to go
Yeah.
through a studio the other day, but we haven't been able
Yeah,
to
I got to
since.
too.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Live shows is the really big
Oh,
bummer
that's.
for.
I didn't even want to get into that. I'm
I
too
know
sad
that's
about
not
that. I
up
miss
there. It's so
performing.
sad.
I miss performing. So I had like 3 shows lined up, gone.
Gone. I know. I had a little mini tour that I was doing. Gone. I mean, and I did a little social distance backyard gig,
Oh, that's.
but it just didn't hit the same. You can't like feed off of the energy of like a mosh pit. It's like everyone's
Yeah.
distant sitting down.
Everyone.
It's so
It's not. Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah,
the vibe isn't correct when you're not able
exactly.
to.
Vibe check, vibe check.
Yeah.
Yeah,
COVID shows aren't the most vibe. I mean, there's still something, it's
yeah,
still cool to put on your backyard shows and kind of,
totally.
even like online shows and stuff. That's still fun.
Yeah, I did
But
one of those, the Zoom show. That was
Zoom show,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
Zoom shows are weird, but they're still
really.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
still fun. Yeah. I also heard in another interview of yours, you're talking about how you're supposed to come to Vancouver to work on your album.
Yes.
You still working on that album even though you weren't able
Yeah,
to?
yeah. We
Still on the
actually have been
grind,
able
right?
to yeah, totally on the grind. We've been able to get more done than I think I arguably would have been able to do if I'd just, been able to go into the studio, because we don't have a whole lot going on. We were able to like power through, and it was going to be 7 tracks and now it's 10. So we got to like add some more in there. And then I had a couple in-person social distance recording days on the
Alright.
coast. But yeah,
Yeah. How close is the album to done?
it is very close. I approved the final masters on Tuesday. So it's just
Alright.
like writing all the bios and getting all the promo prep done. The first single comes out on the 25th of September.
Alright.
So
Everyone remember that date. That's a very
yes, write
important
that
date.
date down.
September
Yeah, down
25th.
for
Everyone better be ready. Yeah.
exactly.
So, being from Nelson, how is the music scene up there? Like how does someone that doesn't live in, I guess, like the big city are
Urban.
able to meet new artists and work with people? Like
Yeah, it's a pretty supportive community. I'm able to play some pretty fun gigs, and it's cool to see kind of the same people coming back to shows that I play. It's also, yeah, it's a really like arts filled community, so there's lots of opportunity for
mm,
shows, and I always, it's cool to check like my Spotify stats. I can see how many people are streaming in Nelson,
yeah.
and that's always cool to see the community doing that. I'm looking at moving out of Nelson, no offense, to a bigger music scene, just to get more into the genre that I want, because it's a lot of like singer songwriter stuff, and that's great, but that's just not the genre that I'm headed in. I'm headed to more like indie pop sort of vibe, but it's been a really great supportive place to kind of jumpstart my career for sure, and I'm grateful for having that foundation here. Yeah, I'm very grateful for the community that I'm coming from as an artist, for sure.
No, yeah, that's great. Supportive
Yeah,
community, everyone in Nelson seems to pass the vibe check,
it passed the vibe
Yeah,
check,
yeah, they pass the
exactly.
vibe check. But yeah, it's also it is kind of hard to like there's only so much you could do, I guess, through social media when it comes to meeting artists to like collaborate with and people to work with your music with, you know. And yeah, you know, I've also, even though I live in kind of, I guess, let's say the big city, Vancouver, I've also
Yeah.
already thought about leaving.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, there
Yeah.
always seems to be some bigger city with other opportunities, but
Exactly.
you always gotta remember the hometown though, because that's where it all starts, you know.
Totally. That's where I'll give my thanks to when I make it. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
That's where I'm grateful for COVID, because more artists from other places are more willing to connect over Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, and so that's been a positive of COVID for sure.
Any crazy people you've connected with because of COVID, or?
I not because of COVID, but I've talked to Scott Hellman, who's a pretty big Canadian artist.
Where's Scott Hellman?
He's so chill. Yeah, I've met him a few times, and he's listened to my music, which is crazy insane for me, because I've kind of like grown up listening to him and having him be quite an inspiration. And I've met Ralph and connected with her over COVID. She's a Toronto-based artist, and talks. We haven't collaborated on anything, but like just talking about like the music industry and stuff like that. It's been really good to talk to someone who's more experienced in the industry than I am, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You know, you gotta find those role models. Are very important. I know one of my biggest role models personally is my I'm in a music program at my school, and his name is Mr. Alt, and I literally was terrible at making music till I met him, or at least I thought. Like I kept trying to make music and it just didn't work, but as soon as you meet that like one person, it just kind of helps like start you up, you know. From there it's
like all the difference, for sure.
Huge difference, for sure. So any other artists listening, find yourself a role model.
Find that person.
Yeah, for sure. But with COVID, even our show, we've also gotten a lot of artists outside of Vancouver, which has been sick. So I 100% agree with you on that. But
totally.
But yeah, things like collaborating are sick and all, but it just does, missing being nothing hits the same as being in person. But any I guess like artists not from Vancouver, like what's farthest distance away, like artists you've
connected with? I mean, it's probably Toronto. It's kind of lame. I have friends in like the UK, but it's not because of COVID that I've connected with them. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be COVID that you connected with them, but it seems a lot more like you kind of try to reach out to people that you like. Most of the time, like before COVID hit, I also used to only be like, I'm gonna just find artists in my city, and then now it's like, oh well, that doesn't matter. It's the same. It feels the same, Eddie. Like, right, even if they're just down the street, it's still gotta be on Zoom. So might as well work with international artists, right? Totally.
Any dream collabs that you?
Oh man, I mean, so many. I mean, I would have to say like this is shooting for the stars, really, but like Childish Gambino is blows my mind. I love him so much. That would be insane. Phineas, Billy's brother, Billy too. Those probably make my top 3, and like Lorde. She's cool. I mean, when's the third album coming? Like, come on.
That has to be my favorite top 3 right there. I've heard of many artists I've asked what the dream collab is. That was easily my favorite right there. Childish.
Thank you so much. I'm glad someone agrees with me. I mean, they're all so cool.
100%. For sure. Growing up in Nelson, BC, how did you come to love music? Like, what was the start? What was the start of Lila Gray?
That's a good question. I am a classically trained cellist, so I started playing cello when I was 4. So that's like my introduction into music. My dad's a physician, but his like, you know, outside of career passion is music. So I grew up with like wonderful music influences and like a massive vinyl collection and really talented artists that kind of formed my musical interests. So I think having that foundation with classical music taught me, you know, then I can write scores and stuff like that. And that's been really helpful in terms of finding my own sound. And so from cello I moved to guitar, and I play really, really shitty, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on the show, but
we'll bleep it out.
That's good. Really terrible piano, like, you know, like 6 chords and stuff like that. but yeah, trained with some voice stuff. So basically, I mean, I knew that music was what I wanted to follow. I didn't find songwriting till I was about 10, which is still young. But that was when I found that, and I was playing guitar and it was so easy to string songs along together. I realized that it was something that I'm hopefully good at. And so that was probably the start of, you know, Lila Gray, as they will say, hopefully. So yeah, having that classical foundation is really helpful.
Right, yeah. Get your music theory up, our fellow
Exactly. Whip it out. Yeah,
that's something I regret never learning. I'm starting now.
Yeah.
I'm starting from the beginning though, but you know, it's never too late.
Exactly, but, never too late. Totally.
I'm telling you, the best artists know music theory. So growing up in Nelson, what was like your first look at artists I guess outside of Nelson? Like, did you know anything about like the Vancouver scene at all? Like,
I mean, I'm born in Vancouver, so I lived in Vancouver, and I moved to Nelson. I went to Vancouver, and then I moved to Victoria, and then from Victoria to Nelson, I was 6 or 7. And so my mom has connections. She's an actor, and so she has connections through that, like with some really cool, you know, local artists in BC, and specifically Vancouver. And growing up, like, a good family friend of ours is Jill Barber, who's an amazing kind of like jazz indie artist. And so just watching, you know, going to her shows all the time and stuff like that, watching that energy. And I was fortunate enough to get to be able to go to a lot of live shows, and watching that energy, I knew that was something that I wanted. And the more I knew that I wanted that, the more I paid closer attention to the artists that were in my life, or, you know, not in my personal life, but artists that I listened to. And when I started developing my own sort of music taste, watching how they perform and stuff like that, that's kind of when, I don't know if that was a good answer to the question.
No, that was pretty, that's pretty spot on. Honestly, that's a pretty good answer. On that note, so like, so you've already kind of growing up already had an idea of artists from, I guess, BC, the BC community, I guess. Like later now that you're a bit more of like a established artist, I guess you can say, like, is there any artists in BC that you like, have you seen yourself at like your peers in your group, like you now you're at like a point where they're almost like competition and like friends and stuff like that? Like, is there anyone in like particular like that how long did it kind of really take you to realize that you kind of had people that are like on that same level, kind of working up with you, kind of thing? Because it always seems to be that there's this like sense of, oh, you're not the only one in your like age group doing this kind of thing, right? Like,
I was actually, it's funny, I was talking about this yesterday with my friend Aza Nabuko, who's also recorded at the same studio that I recorded at shout out to Blue Light Studio in Vancouver. And we were talking about this. She's switching into a different genre, which I won't reveal now, that's her thing, but you know, talking about how it's really easy to pit artists that are at the same age or even in the same genre against each other, but we've found a really solid friendship and are more like, we support each other and promote each other's stuff. And I think it's important to find someone to kind of like cling to in the journey, especially like at this point in our careers where, you know, we're not super established, but it's you know, it's building and it's getting more challenging along the way. And I think it's important to have a support system, and it's been really cool finding other, you know, music kids who have the same sort of career goals in mind and have the same sort of mindset about the industry in general. So that's been really, I'm lucky to have that in my life. And we met not through music, and then found that shared interest, and it's been really nice to establish a friendship through that as well.
Yeah. So you would say that you've been pretty good with all the fellow artists you've met, like your peers, I guess you can say, in your group have been pretty friendly.
I mean, you have to ask them.
Yeah, they've been pretty totally friendly. Everyone's been
totally. Hopefully I'm that way back.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
I see that the indie scene is where it's at. Everyone's friends there apparently. Not it's a bit different in Vancouver. I guess me as an artist, I'm a bit more in like the hip hop and rap stuff, and it's a little bit different there. Not everyone's that nice.
How's that?
How's that? Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm interviewing you now.
Now you're interviewing me. Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about. Okay, so last show I had talked about this. Like we were it was like a group discussion, and I had talked about that. I was like, what's the hip hop and rap community like in Vancouver? I guess I should have reworded my choice of words because I got a lot of angry DMs afterwards, and so I think I just want to not answer this question because I don't think I should talk about the subject anymore because otherwise.
Fair.
Yeah, that's what I've learned.
Yeah. No comment.
No comment. Yeah, no comment. No comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, switching it up. When I was looking to figure out what questions to ask you, I saw on your website you had merch, the globe on fire. What's the story of that?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was looking at producing merch for my first EP there. And I was looking at affordable merch so that I don't go broke when I make it. People don't have to break the bank to buy it. And it's crazy to produce because I care about the environment and climate change. It's real. And I didn't want to buy, some terrible quality shirts coming from terrible working conditions and turn those into merch and sell them for a ridiculous price. So that was the affordable way to do it, was buying really unethical options. And so I decided to, I was just thinking about how that's a recurring cycle, because I've talked to other artists and this is the same thing. And I was in math class and I hate math, and I was sketching and I sketched this little globe with flames coming up from one end and ice coming from the other, and I was like, that's kind of fire, that's a dope symbol. And so me and a couple friends, pre-COVID, didn't need to social distance at this point, last summer we made a bunch of t-shirts that we printed out this decal and put it on there, and that was kind of the reasoning behind it. And I ended up selling a bunch of it, and people love those shirts, and that was really cool. And I put a little note card with all of the shirts that I sent out and explained what the reasoning was behind that symbol, and the responses I got were they were so cool. And I think I'm glad I decided to go in that direction and buy some higher quality shirts and make them myself, instead of having to support some unethical practices, for sure.
Feels more accomplishing too when you do it yourself,
Totally.
It feels, there's a bit of you in every shirt almost.
Every shirt, they're all slightly different.
That's
totally.
Smart. I gotta get on that wave now instead of buying Gildan shirts or something.
Exactly.
That's not where it's at. Yeah. Oh, that is really sick. Actually, I might have to try something like that now.
Do it. Worth it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any math class to get bored in anymore. Now it's a thing. So
take an online math class.
Just get bored during one of the online ones. Start drawing.
There we go.
See what happens. Yeah. That's where it's at. Yeah. All right. To end off the show, I guess I think we're kind of coming to the ends of the time. I don't know. Actually, I lost the timer. You know what? We'll just cut out all the extra bits. But one question, I kind of wanted to bring this question back. So for a while in the beginning of the show, one of our first interviews, we had asked an artist, or one of our hosts by the name of Lila asked one of our first artists, what was the question? Would you rather fight 100 a men-sized chicken or 10 chicken-sized men?
Oh, this is a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, my grandpa has a farm and chickens are terrible, man. They suck. I've tried to pick them up and I have been hurt every single time. So I'm gonna have to go with chicken-sized men, I think. I feel like that's the only acceptable
You wouldn't think
answer.
the chickens would be easier to kill? I don't know. I feel like.
I mean, fair. But then don't they run? They can run without their heads.
Yeah, true.
They live forever, man. Yeah, I feel like the acceptable answer is chicken-sized men. Yeah, just pick them down and then run. Yeah. Now the question: we need some backstory. Do the men have wings? Are they shaped like chickens? Can they fly?
I think they're just normal men, and that they're just small. They're just really small. They're
100%. I take them.
Yeah, they're 1 foot tall.
Yeah, definitely. Chicken-sized men, 100%.
All right. That's
sweet.
Great way to end off the show. Anyways, this has been Kalyan Rath over at Vibe Check with Lila Gray. This has been a really fun interview. So everyone go check out her music. September 25th, first single drops from her album. So you go make sure to, what's the name of the song?
Nevermind. Go pre-save Nevermind.
Go pre-save Nevermind and make sure to stream it. Stream Nevermind. And
Stream it.
yeah, we'll see y'all next week.